always gotta remember.
And this is full size, right?
Yes. It's not exactly full. It's a little bit smaller than full.
But
a full
sheets
would be the
wise,
best.
I'd want to get
Yep.
full.
I would recommend that. You have to obviously tuck the corner underneath on this side. If you wanted to find like exact sizes and everything, I would say contact when you're talking to Winnebago about the table up front. See if they offer like an actual sheet for these or something like that. So
before I forget, I don't know why I thought of this. Do these work off the inverter then?
Yes,
they do.
Yep, those are off the inverter and everything. So yeah. So up top here is going to be the control panel. So the control panel on here is pretty simple. There's not a whole lot to it. You have your solar control up here, so there is a small solar panel up top there. Right now, this is how it's charging everything. So right now, it's telling you the power's on and it's charging. This one right here just tells you your battery condition. So right now, it's telling you that your batteries are full. If your batteries are low, it will come here. If they're empty, it'll go there. So that way, it tells you the charge of the batteries and everything. So right now, it's telling you got 13 volt or 13.7 volts. When it lowers down, it will charge itself back up with that solar panel on top there. So if you're doing a lot of dry camping, it's nice to have for that reason. So obviously you have pretty much every type of power source you can need on here: solar, inverter, generator, all that kind of stuff. So you should never have to worry about running out of power or anything.
So 13.6 is when it's full?
Yes.
All right.
Yep. And then this, if you actually look out on the inverter out there, it will tell you the exact same thing. It'll tell you have 13.6 amps going through that, or volts going through that as well too. So, and then your inverter control. So you have an inverter control out there as well as an inverter control in here. This one is just a pressure switch. You push it and hold it until the green light goes off. That turns the inverter off. Push and hold it until the green light comes on. Turns it back on for you.
How much? Do you have any idea how many? As far as power, how much we can max out with before it might like trip out or anything?
It'll run pretty much your basic stuff. It's not going to run obviously like your air conditioner or stuff like that, but it's enough to be able to run like the TV when you're driving and stuff like that. Because the thing is, when you're driving, the engine's running and stuff like that, it's charging those batteries, so you're not actually killing the battery and everything. So, but it's enough to be able to run like the fridge, your TVs, plugs, stuff like that. So, pretty much just your basic necessities and stuff. So, obviously, if you're running like your microwave or something, it's going to draw down fast. So.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it would, because it's nowhere near like that inverter, but like I've inverted my truck and it'll trigger, it'll kind of turn off blinking light like it's off or whatever, and I have to reset it. Yep. If that happens, does it just, I mean, do you have any idea what would happen if it did? Would it turn off then, or would it?
I believe it would trip from the outside. That little panel that pops off there where that plugs at, that's where it's going to read out any issues that it has. There's a reset button on there for it. There should be. I can double check with the technician when we're done just to see. I'm not 100% sure.
It's not a big deal.
There should be a reset button on the actual inverter for you. So, but I will double check that for you. So.
How is it, Haven?
Next to that, you have your slide rim control. So that's going to allow you to roll the slide in and out and everything. That does require the engine be on and the parking brake be on for the slide out too.
All right. Yeah, we were trying to figure out. We snuck back there and were trying to figure it out ourselves, and we couldn't figure it out.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all done.
Engine on,
And personally, I recommend that to begin with, just because it does draw quite a bit of power. The engine on is going to help it give a little bit extra power. Parking brake on. You obviously really want the parking brake on to be able to control it, just because otherwise you can have issues with it that way. So, especially if the stabilizers aren't down, so it can shake a little bit, and that's when you're going to run into some issues.
When the engine's on, will it go into drive with us out or with like the steps out, or do they? Does the steps
Those will automatically come in. The slide out will not automatically come in, so it technically can go into drive. It will beep at you very obnoxiously loud and tell you, but it can have that happen. So,
gotcha.
That's what I'll tell you there. So I just make sure, obviously, that it's in before it ends. So then you have full intake heaters. So for your fresh gray and black tanks, you have heaters on them to keep them warm. So if you're camping in freezing weather, it will keep everything liquid for you. Then you have the LP valves. Like I said, the LP valve outside, and then this LP valve here. Both have to be on to use your propane. It's just a safety feature because it is all internal underneath there, so you can't actually turn it off with the knob. You have valves for them. So, and this one right here, I'm actually going to sneak past real quick, turn the AC off. This is where the generator starts from. I recommend when you do start the generator, have your ACs off, just because that way you don't have to worry about having any issues. That's the biggest power drawing source in here, and it can tend to trip breakers if you try to start the AC or start the generator with the AC going. So, But you have your water pump switch here, so you can actually turn the water pump on and off from right here. Electric and propane water heater, you can turn both sides on from right here as well. You can see your tank levels, you can see your battery levels for the chassis and the house, and then you can do your generator. So all you do to do the generator, hit start. It'll say auto start for a few seconds. It'll take a second to kind of think, prime itself, and then start up. But it'll all start out on its own and everything. So
all you have to do is push that?
yeah, I believe so. It should. Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because our old one you had to prime and then start.
Yep. This one's all automatic, so it primes itself on its own. You'll hear it when you start it up. You'll hear it click on its own. Once it clicks, that knows it's primed. Then it'll start to start itself. Once it's started, it'll switch over to say running there, and it'll tell you that it's running. Then when it's running, that's when you're good to start running all your electronics and everything. So then it just hits stop. Stops it for you just like that. So it does have a little monitor on there to tell you that you are at 0.4 hours on the generator. Like I said, 50 hours of your first oil change. After that, every 200 hours. So that's my recommendation with that, just to make sure that the oil is always good for you and everything.
50 and 200. All right.
Yep. And then your controls for the fridge are right there. So there's pretty much no mode button. It's just all, like I said, it's all electric. So if you're not plugged into anything, the inverter's on, it's going to run off the inverter. If you're running off electric, it's going to run off electric for you. But the temperature control right here, you just adjust it. 1 is cold, 5 is coldest. You just turn the knob to adjust it to what you want it at. So, and then the fridge and everything get nice and cold and everything for you. So nice and frosty in there. So a couple of little ice cube trays in there for you too. So, and that just latches shut just like that for you. Pretty simple there. So then the dinette does turn on to a bed for you and everything. The table comes off the legs and it sits down in the track below, and then you just use the cushions to turn it into a bed and everything. So obviously not the most comfortable, but then again, it's not made to be a bed, but it does the job if you need it to. So if
You
you're
guys
ready,
don't care, do you, Haven? About sleeping on that?
This bed?
Mm-hmm.
it's actually pretty cushy too. I was sitting down earlier when I was separating the keys and everything, and it's a lot cushier than some of the other ones. So but if you guys are ready, we can actually go. I'll have a seat in the driver's seat if one of you guys wants to sit up in the passenger seat with me. Everything up in the
You
front
can
here
go
is
ahead, I'll
pretty
video it
simple.
from
This
here.
can glow in the dark
I
that
can
way.
video it here better.
Daddy, this part can glow in the dark
Are you
green.
serious? What do you think? You like this one better or the old one?
Yeah, I like this
What about you, Zion?
I'll tell you my favorite part about this one. Guess. Guess what's
The
my
TV in the back
favorite? No.
and the secret room back there.
That room. This.
Your secret room?
Right here, I'm gonna show you something. What?
Starts up probably just like the other one did. Pretty simple there. Do you guys have the same layout with the dashboard and everything on yours?
That's different. With
Different,
the
okay.
others,
Yeah.
everything else is the same.
So obviously this stuff is gonna be pretty similar. Controls for the fan and everything. Turn that up and down. Temperature.
Zion,
Where
Haven,
it's
get back in
going at.
here.
Yeah.
Little notepad. That was kind of weird when I first saw them, but they're
Yeah,
kinda cool.
we were like, what is that?
Yep. You got maps, something like that. If anyone's still using the old school maps or anything, you can hook them there. You have your 4 ways right here. The ASR, that's part of your traction control system. You can turn it on and off from there. Then you have your lock to auto lock the front doors for you. Hook up for USB and HDMI for the radio
You
here
guys
and
go back there,
everything.
turn off your
If you go to menu, you can see everything right here. So you have your media center, XM, Bluetooth, camera, all controlled from here. So, you hit
So
your
those are
camera.
all just audio hookups?
They are, yeah.
Alright.
So if you go to your backup camera, you can see obviously
Yeah,
the camera
stand
just
here.
like that.
They're working
You
all
tap
right.
it, you can see there's different modes on it. So there's horizon, normal, or hitch. So that way you can see
Yeah.
a few different things and everything. So horizon's cool for if you want to see traffic behind you, stuff
Yeah.
like that. That's always cool there. To exit, you just hit menu again, it goes back out. Then you do have navigation built in as well. So that's the Rand McNally. So you just go through all your
Yeah.
warnings, stuff like that. Go to map, RV tools, all that kind of stuff, so you can actually see all the stuff that needs to be done and everything. You can choose your destination. You can also Bluetooth your phone to it and use the navigation on your phone if you want to as well. I still do that even though I have the navigation built into my radio on my car, just because I think it's a little bit easier to work it that way because you can use it on music anyway.
Yeah.
So, but that's all pretty simple there. It works just like any normal car hookup and everything. So.
And the speakers are on this Or it's totally separate
It's
from.
up
Yep.
there. There's
Alright,
a
so
speaker, two speakers
there's the-
up